What up, y'all? This is your boy Juro. Let me go ahead and bust that out for somebody. Smells real good. So, you are in the midst of your weekend. I'm just, I'm just ending my day, and I had been given the opportunity because I'm a firm believer that synchronicity always is around us if we're willing to see it. So, how's everybody doing? How's your weekend going? Doing all right? I hope so. I hope that your week that you have brought to a close has been very blissful, and finds you well. But you know what? I've noticed that the closer and closer we get to this election, you're starting to see the climate of the people that make up the process. Who am I talking to? You're starting to see people become more transparent in how they feel. Oh, yes, the days of living in shadow, being PC, are starting to fade. And you know what? I know some people will quickly say, well, you know what? That's because, Gerald, the world, there's a lot of hate and there's a lot of racism going on. And now there's just a platform and people are being reckless and they thinking that there's no accountability. But see, here's the thing, y'all. Everything we do, everything we say, it's all recorded. Oh, yes. No, I'm not talking about the cell phone, your laptop, or any means of having media strength. I'm talking about your spirit. Because you do understand that is what makes the foundation of how your life plays out. But here's the amazing part. Or really, it's not amazing. Excuse me. What's sad is the campaign that's been going on for the last 100 years. So what is that, Gerald? What campaign has been going on for over 100 years? We're talking about your mind, y'all. The perception, how the world is viewed, not only on a domestic level, as a domestic level, but how about an international? How about global? How about a little deeper? How about spiritual? Why is it we have put so much emphasis on man and not by God? Have you ever thought about that? I'll do one better. How about that disappointment you just went through not too long ago? And yet, no matter how much of a strong game face you put on, it still hurts. Now, doesn't it? Now, I'm not pointing that out to jab at you. I'm letting you know what's going on is until you decide to be real with yourself, that pain that you feeling, yeah, that one, you just gave it another opportunity to influence how your life is going to play out. Because until you decide to heal, you are actually allowing it to live. Who am I talking to? And do you realize by you allowing that to live, it impacts everything that makes you. even your money. Did you think about that? But you know what's really tragic about that, y'all? Is that the person that was the influence is never there to witness it. Who am I talking to? The person that may have caused disappointment or hardship, there's no one around, but yet you are carrying that energy as if it happened just now. That's not fair. So why are you choosing to not give it what it needs? You got to acknowledge your pain. Do you realize 50% of the planet, 50% of the people on the planet do not communicate effectively? So do you think that may be a factor of why we have conflict, why we don't have unity? How about unity in our own homes? Who am I talking to? And you know why? Because we refuse to be vulnerable. We refuse to keep it real. And then a part of it is because of how we are reared. Because guess what? If you have a foundation that cannot relate or has not mastered that experience based by your emotions, guess what? They can't teach you. Who am I talking to? Mm? Oh, yeah. Because if you think that faking it to making it is going to buy you time, you're going to come to realize that time that you thought you was biding on is the same amount of time that was cheated from you from the initial interaction. Who am I talking to? Oh, yeah. Because, see, society wants you to take the shortcut in life. Know why? Because society doesn't want you to be who you're blessed to be, the person you're destined to be. And that person is blessed. But see, guess what? You can't tell somebody they're blessed if they're not willing to hear it. And sometimes the greatest messages you won't ever interpret will not come from this. It will be found right here. You know why? Because that's how God is. Excuse me. That's how he do. That's why you hear people say he's never on time, but he's always there when you need him. Why? Because the way that we measure time is not on God's plan. He doesn't have to show up for you. He created you. But guess what? You're still his child. Even the stuff that we do that we think no one knows. Please put this in perspective. When he gave you the breath of life, your heart started beating. As your heart started to beat, so did the living blood. Because you do understand, anything that is alive has blood in it, no matter if you can't see it or not. Why? Because it's God's. It's God's gift to man. And his greatest gift to man was you, Queen. That's right. But guess what? Because the devil don't like you. That's right. Don't you realize, Queens, the devil hated you the moment you took your first breath? That's why he tempted you. That's why he showed you. That's why he turned around and gave you that apple. Because he knew that you were strong but yet fragile. And without proper guidance and support, you will destroy yourself. You will defile yourself. And you will not love yourself. Why? Because that's part of being yoked. Haven't you seen how many examples you got to go through? Every time you take it upon yourself to do things and God ain't in it, what happens? That's your lesson. Every time you go out there and say, I'm gonna go get me a man. And what happens? You get a man, but it's not Mr. Right. It's Mr. Right now. Why is that? Because God ain't in that. God told you to prepare for him. You know why he said prepare? Because your mate, the one, will be your mirror. And guess what? It's kind of contradictory, don't you think? I'm gonna tell you why. Because your lessons. Oh, I'm talking to somebody right now. Your lessons. You know that heartbreak you went through. You know why it hurt so much? Because he or she was a living example of what you've done. Some people know that as karma. Who am I talking to? Because I know somebody needed that validation right then. I just gave it to you. Why would you turn around and give your most precious commodity, your time, to someone that don't even know what forever looks like? So if they don't even have a concept of what forever can be, how can you expect them to master today? How about see your worth? How about see your uniqueness? How about seeing, the greatest blessing a human being can have is watching someone grow. How about learning their legacy? How about being able to witness it? Hmm? Who am I talking to? Think about it. Jesus had 12 disciples, right? They weren't perfect. They were all different, but they all had a commonality. They all believed in God. But Jesus told it best. Through me, I'm the way to the Father. So guess what? They had to walk in blind faith. But the fact is, they knew that there was something intended and better for their lives. The price, the sacrifice for that was trust. So if you turn around and you've got trust issues right now in your life, it's really because you don't trust yourself. Now remember, that also goes hand in hand with that free will too, now don't it? Because see, nobody can make you do anything you don't want to do, and no one can convince you to do otherwise unless the position that you've decided to take is the position that you already hold all along. I think that's somebody. Like, I feel this in my spirit right now, like somebody's saying, yeah, I've got an obligation that I'm supposed to been doing, and I've been kind of flaking on it. And now all of a sudden, your time is being pulled in 4 different directions, but you know that you have to see that whatever this project is, you have to see it through because the fact that you know that it's going to have a bigger impact, or it may involve the impact of other people. Maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody, you got I don't know, it's something about a bill or something. I don't know. I got this feeling somebody's like a contract of some type. I don't know. But anyway, before I go into babble mode, because that's what I don't do, how was your week? I hope your week was blessed. I hope that you were able to find comfort in grounding yourself. How about putting both feet on the ground? How about, did you wake up this morning and look that beautiful person in the mirror and tell them they look? You tell that person in the mirror looking back how much you loved them. You do understand the moment that you find comfort by being able to acknowledge how precious you are. That's when it will be reciprocated in this world. Who am I talking to? I know somebody's tired. Aren't you tired of going through the merry-go-round of life? You say, you know what, Gerald? I just want somebody to understand me. I want my best friend. And that's something that you've longed for many, many years. You know why? Because you're not a friend to yourself. And the energy that you put out is the energy that you see until you learn it. You do understand that, right? So if you were frivolous with your money, you constantly have examples of why you should be more responsible. Who am I talking to? But the test, the devil's, boy, that's how we do. He'll always bring opportunities for you to blow it. Feel like your money, feel like you can't your pockets are on fire because you want to spend your money, but you know darn well if you do, oh boy, you're gonna have to go through hell and high water to bounce back. That's just a test, and it too shall pass for somebody. Somebody who needed to hear that. You might be thinking right now, you feel like you're walking barefoot on cobblestone right now because it's kind of you can't get your footing, and your heart is starting to turn, and you're starting to see life a little different now, a little more clear now, and but you're starting to feel a longing inside you saying that no, this is right. What you're feeling is your discernment, y'all. See, let me throw this disclaimer out here because what y'all don't understand is, see, in the real world, in my world, see, I work in aviation and I got to wear these boots so I don't break my toes and my feet. So I'm taking my boots off so I can relax after a long day of doing my job. But I want y'all to know something, y'all. Please be mindful with what you interpret, what you see, and what you hear. And I'm saying this for a reason because you have a lot of people that are banking that you won't invest in you. Do you understand that? You have some people that want you to stay stuck. And that falls in your family tree. It falls in your work environment. It falls in, unfortunately, even who you share your bed with. I got this feeling somebody has a something that you really want to do, and anytime you try to put investment in you, there's always you get pulled away. Who am I talking about? Am I talking to somebody about that? You know, there's something that you want real bad, and every time you try to make a step to get close to it, you get pulled or there's an obstacle. Stay the course, because what you're witnessing is you're closer to your blessing than you think. But let's look at it this way. For those who may have known the story of Job, this is exactly what's going on, y'all. Because the faithful will be rewarded. And see, society wants you to ultimately give up on yourself. See, if you choose to give up on yourself, you basically willfully are sacrificing your dreams to your fears. And that's what the devil wants. He wants you to get to a place where depression can sneak in, where them fears can take on a life of its own. Because you've already seen the examples of what not following your dreams can do. Speaking of dreams, did anybody see the NBA Hall of Fame ceremony? If you didn't, it's probably on YouTube. But sit back. One of the best commencement speeches I've seen in a long time. It was Allen Iverson's Hall of Fame induction. Talk about being transparent. Talk about being vulnerable. Talk about speaking your truth. That man did it. And being that Allen Iverson is from the area, oh man. That's why you all look here, Queens. Because I'm trying to be PC about what I want to convey. At the end of the day, you might be enthralled in the mystique of the bad boy, but I guarantee you, when it's all said and done, you're going to want that good guy. I'm going to tell you why. Because see, that good guy knows that, first of all, real men don't wear their wealth. They invest in it. They invest in it with their time. They also know that the things that they dream about, those are nothing but the steps to their reality. To have it, you're going to trip. You're going to skin your knee. You might fall down. But what shall never be moved should be your happiness, your will to persevere. That is your motivation. Price on that is you're going to lose a lot of people along the way. You're going to have friendships be tested. You're going to have alliances through your job. Because let's call a spade a spade. Your work relationship and your personal relationship. Look, if they don't respect you, they can't walk with you. And if they can't walk with you, why are you allowing them to hear you breathe? Or maybe that is a place where you should have never been along. You should have never been there to begin with. And maybe this is the time that you finally have the courage to go inside your heart and say, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm tired of crying at night. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of holding on to this anger that's inside me. Oh, who's that? Is that you? Are you one of those people that walk around and you're so angry inside because you don't know how to communicate your feelings? Maybe part of that was because of how you were raised. And maybe you came from a family that did not know how to express what love was all about. You want to know the greatest extension or the greatest example of what love looks like? It's very simple. Look in the mirror. You exist. So if you exist, that right there should let you know you are here on this planet for a reason. You got a job to do. And that job is going to take you long and far. You're going to meet people that are different from you, as well as those that share the same commonality. But what's important, what is so important, y'all, you got to trust your discernment. Because, see, your discernment is your navigation to the real you. The real you is the person you have yet to meet, because that person's blessed, that person's protected, and that person has a relationship with God. I mean, I ain't got to tell you that. Just look at all you've had to go through without God there. And don't think he didn't want to be there, but see, problem with man is man wants to think he's God. And when disappointments come, when betrayals happen, when people let you down, it's not that God wants you to suffer. God wants you to have an authentic connection with him. Because, see, it's not his responsibility to come get you, but he will protect his trial. That's why he said, come as you are, because that's the original. That's the one of a kind. That is the beautiful creation. So why are you looking at yourself like you flawed? Why are you basing yourself to what the status quo is? Don't you realize you ain't the status quo? You're the exception to the rule. Who am I talking to? But you too busy listening to people in the cheap seats that only want you to sit in that row with them. Why? Because they gave up on themselves. They stopped mistrusting how they felt. And then through that became fear. And what happened is they lost their voice. Some of y'all hearing your voice for the first time, but see, the devil may be trying to sway you, because he'll give you what you want, but it'll never be what you need. That's why anything that's without God is seasonal. You do understand that, right? Who's that? Who's that? Who's this for? That's your validation. This is out to all the women that finally decide to stand up, open their hearts, and let the healing in. Queen, why are you listening? Why are you listening to a woman that don't love herself? Don't you realize she supports misery with misery company? Why are you looking at reality TV when it ain't reality? That should tell you right there. Look at Bad Girls Club. What's honoring that? There ain't no honoring that. It's just women, young women that don't know how to be women. And they think being able to reach The road of womanhood is found by the end of a bottle, which is connected to a cheap thread, or unfortunately, the destruction by violence. What is a broken flower that has not been treasured? Well, it's real simple. Just look out the window, because she walks by every day. And you know that's a travesty, Queen. If you're going outside your house without a smile on your face, don't you realize a woman's smile can light up a room? She can walk in silence and command it. But she cannot do that unless she knows what peace is. How about be still? How about love yourself? How about once you stop running? How about stop looking for validation when really what you're seeing is exploitation? Because see, your real friends, they will tell you what you need to know, even though they may not be able to witness it for their own self. Come on now. How long are you going to sit in that misery? How can you call yourself strong when you hide like a little girl? And that's the problem, because there's a lot of grown women that really are reenacting or trying to reenact their youth. And you think that if you show, pout, have a tantrum, that brings you one step closer to whatever you want. Don't you realize the devil's work's never done? And demons got to stay employed. And maybe that's the reason why your bed is cold at night. It's not to punish you, it's to motivate you to get your life back. Because once you decide to get your life back, by having a conversation with God, by putting God first, you know what happens? Every time you become closer, you bring yourself closer to the one. Who am I talking to? Do you realize the one, their sole responsibility is to protect your heart? But guess what? They can't do their job. They can't do their job. Not while you're so closed off. That's why you don't see when somebody gets married, there's always a bride and groom, right? So why are you listening to people that are giving you bad advice? Trying to rob your mind, trying to dumb you down. You know why? Because 9 times out of 10, they haven't mastered the same problem. But any problem can be resolved as long as you speak it into existence. How about How about communicate your thoughts effectively? How about that? Because guess what? Until you decide to get right with yourself, you're really doing time in your mind. Well, nonetheless, y'all, I know it's getting late. Wherever you are, have a blessed and safe weekend. Always place God first in your life, because He's the one that's going to open the doors to your happiness, but not overnight. We got to get all that pain out. We got to let them wounds heal. We got to learn to forgive each other. We got to learn to forgive yourself. How about take accountability for the choices you made? Don't you realize once you decide to do that, the pain goes away. You don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to remember what you said and who you were with. Why? Because when you're at peace with yourself, you're blessed. Because God's got you. And guess what? All that means is you finally made it home. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your work. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Listen, why are you running after those people when they won't even give you their last breath if you need it? It's time for you to go within and love yourself and watch what God shows you, because you're worth it. Be blessed, y'all. Bye.